guys, it's Di from BeingMommywithStyle, and today I'm going to share how I'm going to make the spring burlap wreath for my front door. All the supplies are from Hobby Lobby, and I've got a medium wire ring here that I'm going to put the burlap into. It's got 3 sections. I'm going to be using this blue chevron. I got this on sale for $3.40. It's the wide kind, but you can use the regular kind that's a little bit thinner than this too. And I'm probably going to use at least one of these, possibly go on to the second one, so I got 2. I also have this regular burlap ribbon, and I use this. It's 2-tone, so I use it on the inside and the outside. And I have 3 of these just in case. Then I'm hoping to add some of these florals on the outside as an accent. So let's go, and I'll show you how I'm going to make my wreath. So to start out, I'm just going to take one of the spools of the regular burlap, and I cut a hole just towards the top, but not too close to the top. And then I also took one of the chevron. Again, I cut a hole. I'm just going to pick a point here on my frame, and it doesn't really matter where it is. I'm just going to pick one of these wires here to tie everything onto. And I'm just going to tie it in a knot here, and then that's going to get me started. So after I have both of those tied off, I'm just going to push it so the twine is coming through the back. And it's really easy to get started. All you're going to do all the way through is just make mini loops, is what I call them, which is basically just taking the burlap and folding it in half and then taking it into the track, or taking it into the area you want to push it through, and then you just make a little loop. Once you get started, it's really, really easy. And I know this is the thing that people have the most questions about, so I'll try to take a minute here to explain it, but it's really, really super easy. So I'm just going to push it through, and then once I have one of the regular, I'm going to go to number 2. I'm going to push that through the second area. I'm going to pull it through to make a loop, and then that's how I'm going to get the chevron started. And you can make these as big or as small as you want. I've got plenty of materials, so I'm going to make mine probably a little bit bigger just to offset this chevron. And you can go through and kind of puff it up later, so I'm not going to worry about what it looks like right now. And then I'm going to keep on going all the way down. So you just take this burlap that's coming through the back here, and you take it, fold it into half, make a little loop, and you're just going to push that from the bottom, pull it up, make sure that it's a little loop so it comes through both sides, and then I'm just going to push it down. So that's what it's going to look like all the way around the wreath. 1, 2, 3. So it's 2-tone with the regular burlap on the outside, chevron on the inside, and regular burlap here. So then all you have to do is repeat this process all the way around the wreath, and that's how it gets going. So this piece that's coming through the back here, I'm going to take it and go back up here to number 1, push it through, make a little loop, and then just continue this pattern all the way around. So then I'm going to take the chevron, push it through, make a loop, and then scoot it down. Then I'm going to take this regular burlap. I'm going to take it and push it through the bottom, pull it up, make sure it's a full loop so you can stick your finger all the way through so it's a loop. And you can see how it just naturally bunches up on its own. And then I'm just going to keep on going all the way down. So go back up to the top, number 1. I'm going to pull the loop through. Then I'm going to take my chevron, pull it through the center, make sure it's in a really nice loop, and you can see that this is going to fill up really quickly. Then I'm going to take my regular burlap and go through the bottom rung here, number 3, and there you go. So the first section is already done. So you can see I'm almost about halfway around, and I'm going to go through about twice as much of this regular burlap as I will the chevron, since I'm doing double of the regular. So now that I've hit the end of this regular burlap strand, what do? So I'm going to take my twine, and this is what I've used on all my wreaths. It really does seem to hold up. I'm just going to take 2 pieces of this twine, and I pre-cut some holes over here in this next spool. And I'm just going to take the twine and put it through. And again, it can look kind of as messy as you want it to look. It doesn't matter, because all this twine can end up on the back of the wreath. And I'm just going to connect the 2 pieces of burlap, this spool with the next spool. I'm going to make another hole right here. So you can see I'm just cutting a hole with my scissors. And I'm taking this through and just going to tie it in a knot all the way around with my burlap. It doesn't have to change at all when you go onto the new spool. I just try to make sure that there are no seams in the front of the wreath. So I'm going to use this here and then take a chevron through the middle here. And then I'm going to take this kind of last piece. I'm going to try to just get it to where the seam is in the back. And then the seam can stay in the back, so then the next time I come loop up here at the top, I'm actually using this new spool of burlap, and I'm just continuing the same technique all the way around. Alright, so I'm coming to the end of my chevron here. So I'm going to take my second spool and just add it in exactly how I added in the other piece. And this is a little bit stiffened, so I use these crafting scissors to get through the stiffened burlap. I find that these work the best. And then I'm just going to take 2 strands. And we're going to do the same thing here. And then, so if it's a colored burlap or one that has a pattern on it, you just want to make sure that you're putting the pattern on the same side. So when I tie these together to make it look the same, you're just going to make sure that the pattern is coming through the same side on both of them. So now that I've added on, I'm ready to keep going, and I know that I'm on the top loop here because of my regular burlaps coming out of the top row, number 1. So I'm going to start with the blue chevron, and this is on to the second roll. So again, make sure you can get matching rolls at the same time so it's not 2 different colors. And then down through number 3, the bottom one, pulling the loop through. We're just going to make sure that this seam right here where they're tied together, make sure that stays in the back. And then through the top here. So the next thing I'm going to show is how I cut the excess chevron off. And we're going to be using our twine just to tie it to the wreath wire. I'm just going to stick that through and just tie it off. And then that's going to be my end. And then I'm going to just take this burlap, and actually a lot of times I use 2 pieces of twine, but it just worked out, so use 1 piece of twine right now. And tie off the end of that one as well. And that is the end of our wreath there. And I'm going to work on sticking these flowers in there. So I'm not going to need these stems. So if it's a flower that just pops off, I can just pop it off and I can just put the stem over to the side. Those are the easiest ones. And if it's a flower like this, this doesn't actually pop off. So this one I'm going to have to actually cut. But this one I'm going to take and cut and work it into the piece. Actually, that looks really nice with just the one flower. So I'm going to play around with this, and if I decide to not cut these, I can use them in my decor around my house. To get a sense of whether or not I like the flowers in there, as long as it'll fit through the frame, this one maybe it'll be a little bit too wide. What I actually do is actually just pull it through without cutting it first. And sometimes if it's like even a Christmas one, they aren't as long as this one. This one I don't know if I can do. I may actually just tie this to the back so that way I could reuse it in floral areas around my house later on. But I want to see what this looks like real quick. So what I thought about doing, and we'll try to find another hole to stick this one through. Hopefully it'll fit through. These hydrangeas are just a little thick. so then I can secure those. And then this I can actually just hot glue on there. So I'm going to see whether I think the hydrangeas are overkill or if I just want to do the blue flower. So I think I decided I'm going to leave the hydrangeas on there, and I may decide to cut these pieces later, but I'm going to show you what I do with the floral stems if I decide, like for Christmas, I don't know, for whatever reason, my Christmas wreaths, I don't cut those a lot. So these are so thick. What I think I'm going to do is find a couple spots on this wire, and I'm just going to use the twine, and these have wire in them as well, so they are flexible and they'll bend. But I'm just going to use this twine. That's my piece I want to hang it from. And I'm going to just tie it to this wreath. And then, you know, sometimes the wreaths, if they stay in the doorway for a long time, they have to be redone, or pieces have to get changed out because they get sun decay on them and that sort of thing. So this makes it easy to change out or reuse them on other places in the house if it seems like the flowers are still okay. So I'm just going to tie this around. You could totally cut these off if you wanted to. But this way, this makes this reusable, and it's not going to hurt your door at all because this is just a rubbery substance. And then I'm just going to adjust these leaves a little bit. I do want some of the greenery showing because, again, I think that adds just a little bit of pop of color. I apparently lost a wreath in a leaf in the process too. And I kind of want these up a little bit. And then I have my glue gun warming up over here, and I'm just going to hot glue the blue flower right here in between those two as an accent color, and my wreath will be done. And I'm just going to take this and just kind of double knot it here, and then that's going to be my loop, and I'll just cut off the excess. And then this is how I will actually hang it from the door, is this loop right here. And that's how I will hang it up. So we'll see if the hot glue gun's ready, and we're going to take this flower and just glue it on right here. And there's the finished product on the front door. I really like it. I think it's a nice pop of spring here on the front door. I love the blue and I love the little accents. And I think this will just be a really nice wreath for spring. So make sure to give me a thumbs up and comment down below if you enjoyed this video. And let me see your spring wreaths on Instagram. I'm at BeingMommywithStyle. Tag me on there and show me your spring wreaths that you're making or wreaths for other holidays. I'd love to see them. And check out my other wreath videos linked down below. Thanks for watching and have a great day.